S&P 500 as we get ready to trade September week 4, 2022. Let's start off looking at this intraday chart with a gap down open and making a fresh new September low at 38.37 and change by around 12:30 Eastern time. Kind of digesting that and moving up in the afternoon, trying to get back above the open, but not quite getting the job done, but still a move almost all the way back on the day to where we opened up, kind of forming an inverse head and shoulders just on, the price action for the day on Friday. So maybe this is going to lead us to some further upside come Monday. Let's take a look at the roadmap. You can see that we had an uptrend last week that we were trying to hold. This comes to us from off of the June low. We kind of drew the line here at the initial September low, held a higher low against it earlier in the week, but then Thursday broke down below this trend line, and then follow that up with another gap down open on Friday. Now, kind of thinking about this, Friday was OPEX and ES contract expiration. There was also a lot of talk at the beginning of the month that there was over $8 billion worth of put options that were bought by institutional investors for September. So maybe Friday was the culmination of all of that put buying and that contract expiring on the open, and then this buying at the end of the day bringing us back was once all of those bets were settled and cashed in and everything's done, maybe we put some more points on the board next week. And another reason being for that is that September 26th, when we get into the following week, after next week, we start the Jewish holidays. Rosh Hashanah is September 26th, and usually, seasonally, from Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur, we have a bit of a sell-off in the market, just money being taken off the table. So it would make a lot of sense if we were to bounce a little further next week, only to turn around and sell back off again. And if we were to bounce, we would be looking for, trying to get back here and fill the gap to Thursday's close, get over Thursday and Wednesday's highs and back above our 10-day simple moving average, getting back above 39.81 at the summer halfway back, and getting back through these simple moving averages. A big place that we could fail would be at the 50-day simple moving average. If we can get through the 50-day simple moving average, then we're going to take a shot at this September 12th high, where we topped off at 41.19. So if we can't get through this level here, then maybe that's where we're going to sell off from again. If we can't get over the 50-day, obviously that's where we're going to sell off from again. But let's keep in mind a possibility of a pretty good bounce next week that maybe had already began on Friday. If we were to not bounce next week, or if we do bounce and we're looking for what the situation is and where we would be going once we do begin to sell off again, one of the things that comes to mind is this low that was set for July at 37.21. This certainly looks like it was a back test and hold above the June low, which is our current 2022 low. However, that's an awfully big hold above that low. So maybe we would be shooting against this 37.21 level, and if that doesn't hold, then we start looking towards the median line of our bear fork. And starting on Monday, that's at 37.11 and falling, and as long as we were to hit this median line somewhere before October 5th, we're still going to hold a higher low against June if we're using the median line and a strict hold of it, that is. If we were to start selling off and we broke below the median line, then forget about it. It doesn't mean anything. But this median line, my point I'm trying to make, is that this median line holds above the June low right through about October 5th, October 6th, something like that. And that timing really aligns with maybe turning around again and rallying back once those two holidays have played out, okay? I shouldn't say that, play out. That doesn't sound like the right thing to say, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, so food for thought there. There's really not a lot to say. I mean, if we are going to begin to sell off on some more next week instead of having this short covering before we go into those holidays, then obviously we're looking for a new September low below the one on Friday. Maybe our next big point here is this 20% off mark at 38.12, and if that goes, then boom, we're heading right towards that 37.21 level, and the median line and maybe walking our way down there until we get all the way to October 5th, and maybe no breakdown below the median line will give us the turnaround that we need to get back up. And then once we do turn around off of this median line, at some point we'll need to see a rally that breaks out over the top of the bear fork. And that's it. I don't really have much more to say than that, except this. Let's look at a couple of indicators that were going on Friday. Oil was sideways most of the afternoon, around $85. I think that as long as oil stays at an 8 handle or lower, if it breaks down below 80, that's really going to help fuel the market into a rally. If it goes above $90 again, maybe the rally is going to fizzle out on the market. Something to keep in mind there. We want to see an 8 handle or lower on oil. Apple bottomed out early in the day. The S&P took until about 12:30 Eastern time, but Apple only took until about 10 o'clock Eastern to hit its low at 148, and it wound up closing back above 150 at the end of the day, closing at 151.30. That's bullish. We need to see Apple stay above 150. And then the VIX topped off right at the open on Friday at $28, and it kind of was falling for the rest of the day. So that's kind of bullish action underneath the surface. Something to think about this theory that maybe we're going to bounce next week. Don't think that the selling is over. Very likely that we're going to sell off and make an even lower September low still, like I talked about on some of the other charts. But first, let's see if we're going to get a bounce that we can play with calls, and then look to buy some puts towards the end of next week. Okay? Have a great rest of your weekend. As always, good luck and good trading.